Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye, bitch.
Jesus.
Oh,
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we have decided to make this episode a drinking game. So anytime we say anything at all that is negative about each other, about this film, about how Dave is always asking people to dress with more peekaboo and sparkle. You're going to hear this sound? That sound means we're taking a drink.
I'm not some dickhead who shouldn't be in the White House. Come on.
Oh, boy.
So, we're off. Pour yourself a glass as we lean into a film that has more smoking in the first scene than a fucking Cheech and Chong film.
Smoking? That's what you're going with first? Let's go.
Out of the bottle, Jeffrey.
That's right, people. We're doing Days of Wine and Roses, the 1962 Jack Lemmon Lee Remick film about an alcoholic couple.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I was thinking about this. We've covered alcoholism on the show. We did Leaving Las Vegas recently.
Yep.
What
And Virginia
makes
Woolf.
what makes you question our alcoholism more? These movies or listening to old shows of our recordings?
Yeah.
Maybe the Speed 2 episode makes you think maybe we should have given this up a long time ago.
If you want to question our alcoholism, listen to the Halloween episode.
That one too. That was early in our run.
That
All
got
I'm
taken off
saying,
Facebook.
friends, all I'm
Funny
saying
enough,
is,
I don't think any of us are like big drinkers every day. Like,
Not
it's
anymore,
funny that
no.
we chose to do this. We just thought this was like a fun thing to do, but I was
We went to
definitely thinking about
college.
it when I was watching this movie. It's like, I think if people only know us as the hosts of this podcast,
Mhm.
they're going to find this very ironic that we're talking about this.
Yeah, right.
All I'm saying is if we have to live in a world where your fellow neighbors in New York City get mad at you for trying to kill the cockroaches because they think we should coexist with the cockroaches, I think
That
I would be
moment.
an alcoholic too.
Well, no. See, the problem is
That moment,
when you
too.
live in an apartment block, if you spray, the cockroaches fuck off into everyone else's building, so everyone else gets twice as many
they should-
cockroaches.
Well, they should spray too. I don't know what to tell you. Or fix your shit. Clean up those cracks.
Dude,
We got
seriously,
good
the
caulk
amount
now.
of bug spray that he put down, he just took 5 years off everyone's fucking life.
But there was that one spot that he put a half a bottle into.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
That reminded me of me trying to kill a fucking spider in Australia.
By the way, and I love that
you need
moment
more
'cause,
than that to kill
well,
that spider in Australia.
He brought some food. There's like food out. And he's like, like
Yeah.
this is way before
They don't know
the
about
EPA,
DHT.
folks. Oh my god!
So we're talking about Days of Wine and Roses. The Random Year Generator spun 1962. This is actually our third visit to 1962. We had previously done To Kill a Mockingbird. I forget what other one we did that episode. And then recently we did The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. So we're going to give you some context, what was happening in the film year 1962, some world events.
We've also done Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Okay, that's the one we did that. We did
Way
that with...
back in the day, yeah.
So Baby Jane we did with To Kill a Mockingbird, I believe. And that was
Cool.
fucking cool. So anyway, go back and listen to that. I'm going to actually change some of the world events to do some more fun ones this time, since for Man Who Shot Liberty Valance we
say
did
that
about 6 months
every
ago.
time.
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, I should
And
turn
Dave.
my thing on. Yes.
David, was there any time in this movie that you questioned why you took a break from drinking?
No. I did, however, make the donation today for the first 6 weeks, and $65
Yes.
went over to the LA Fire Department Foundation.
Thank you,
they
Dave.
were quite
And you
happy.
sent it today, the day after the Oscars, so it made it
Yes.
seem like you were really moved by the
Yeah.
telecast, and you wanted to send $65. So yeah, everybody, every time Dave gets a buzz, 50 cents goes to a charity. But it looks like it's time for you to announce a new charity, unless you're going to go back to Los Angeles.
No, I'm doing Food Bank in New York this time. The one that helps women who.
Excellent.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was
Well,
one of my go-tos back when I lived there. Great
Yeah,
charity.
it's a good one. So
I hope you say some shit soon so that we can give him some money.
yeah,
This
well,
is like that
I'm already
Bud Light commercial.
dude. I'm already a fucking $1 in.
Hey, Dave.
Like,
It's that Bud Light commercial. They're like, what a swear jar? Like, what do we do with all the money? It's like, I don't know, buy the office some Bud Light. They're like, that's fucking awesome. They're just constantly like cursing at each other so that they can have a Bud Light office party. All right. So yeah, so we'll set up the context. If you need to get to your Days of Roses, Days of Wine and Roses conversation, check the show notes. Fuck. I'm drinking out of the bottle because it's almost over anyway, and I figured why not?
It is almost
for this
over
movie.
for us.
This is the one to do it on. Yeah.
Um, Scoot ahead. Check the show notes. Scoot ahead. Spotify, Apple
Don't knock
Music,
over your-
Stitcher. They have really good chapters, so we're going to probably talk about the Oscars a little bit here. I think Dave has a gripe related to the Oscars, so we're just going to get talking, get drinking, talk some Oscars, and then eventually get to that conversation. But John, let's have you shout some sponsors out first before we get into this episode about alcoholism. Let's go.
Sponsors. We have a beer sponsor. His name is Carlos Barroza, and he can be found in the show notes. His link is cbarrozo.beer, or rather his handle. You can follow the link in our show notes to his handle on the old Instagram, and you can see him talking about beer, teaching beer education. He is basically the sommelier of beer. I can never remember what the name of that fucking word is when you're a sommelier of beer, but he is one.
Australian.
What is that word, you guys? Australian.
You say that every time.
Crikey.
That's a fucking
We
good
also have a
beer.
music artist in residence. Is it give me? We also have a fucking
John,
music artist in residence.
I can't wait to play this back and hear whatever you just said.
Dasein makes music, and we use that music for free. Dasein, D-A-S-E-I-N. Find the link in the show notes to all those usual music platforms where you can download, subscribe, like, love, stream. You're welcome. The Sanitas Pacifica, the music of a movie that we all worked on, is now officially out on Spotify and Apple Music.
We've
If you
also
wanna
got a
go
link.
listen to some really moving ambient shit. It's pretty
We've
great.
also got a link to the weed you can buy while listening to Dasein.
Oh boy! I'll recommend. I'll just shout this out just because it's such a good one. Go to the album, and
What's
if you
the
don't
best
feel like
weed to
listening to
have while
everything,
listening to
press
Dasein?
play. Press play on the last track, Ambient 3. It's the one that plays at the end of the movie when he's having his big experience on the deck, and it's an
I thought
extended
about
version. It's so good.
I thought
Dude,
about
it's
the-
so
even
good.
I had a
cry
fucking
slash
experience
yell.
on that dick.
Remember when my dad
You didn't
walked in
even
the
say
background
deck,
smoking
Dave.
a pipe?
In the middle of a shot, John's dad is smoking a pipe in the background. And we're like, we're filming here. He's like, oh, you need me to move? We were like, yeah, where should I go? The fuck out of the way. Sorry, Ray Shot.
Ray Shot.
Ray Shot. The best. Every week. Ray Shot's been getting a lot of announcements for his smoking and for other things.
Okay. All right.
So let's
those
get
are the
into the-
sponsors.
So Oscars were last night. If you're listening to this in the future, so sorry. This is the Oscars of 2025 for the 2024 film year. Let's go into Dave's gripe first to get us into this, because this is cool. First of all, did either of you get fucked by the fact that it said the Oscars were at 7/4 Pacific and assumed that meant television coverage and it would start at 8, but they just wanted your eyeballs for the red carpet or some bullshit? Did you get fucked by that too?
Wait.
I didn't even
What do
switch
you
it on
say?
until 9.
So last week at the SAGs, it says it started at 7/4 Pacific, but that was when the telecast started. That was on Netflix for the SAG Awards, and it was all red carpet for the first hour. The actual ceremony started at 8. So this week, it was the same thing. And so I was like, no way, I'm not falling for the bait. It starts at 8. It's always started at 8 or 5 on your side. Why would they ever start this at 4 o'clock Pacific time? I know there's a million parties after, but that seems crazy. And it actually started at 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific this year. And so I'm not the only one. One of my friends who was a SAG and watched all of these movies on his computer because of the digital screeners started watching at 8 o'clock on the dot. Damn it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I turned it on early because I did find out that, and they're literally down the street from me. So like I had ran some errands around there, and I was like, oh, the red carpet was starting like
Trying to get in
really
the back
early.
of as many shots as possible.
No, dude, it's fucking
Like Ray
it
Shot.
is a fucking nightmare
Should've
when
brought
that
your
shit is
pipe.
happening. But anyway, so I
Were
turned
you
it on
flying the
because I was
drone that
going back
arrived on
and
the red
forth.
carpet?
No, I can't fucking do that. I'm never doing that again, Dave. I've been betrayed before. The Hulu and Fubo apparently there was the only things that I had access. I don't have YouTube TV or ABC Live TV, so I was using both those. I was going back and forth during the red carpet shit, and then I didn't switch over. Like I missed like the very intro video thing. So like whatever like the opening thing was before, not Conan's Substance thing where he came out, whatever the opening thing is before the ladies sung their duet. I missed that. But so the coverage was a little fucked on my end, but I didn't see what happened on Hulu. I think we were on Hulu and I didn't get that
Dave?
your coverage has ended.
Well, I'll
So,
tell you.
Dave,
I'll tell
what are
you
you upset about? What are you so
Dude,
mad about?
Hulu
Set
put
the
this
gripe
down
timer.
for
Otherwise, if you
weeks.
don't set the gripe timer, we are going to buzz the absolute crap out of you.
Hulu set this thing for weeks, saying for the first time a streaming service is going to be streaming the Oscars, and like I've since there's some theories. No one's actually come out and said what happened, as far as I know. But you get to Best Actress, and suddenly they're about to announce it, and you get a screen saying the broadcast has ended. Thanks, everyone. Like that's it. Just like, and you go out of that and you come back, and you can't fucking get back. It's just gone. There is no thing. The ceremony for those people stopped at the oh fuck, they've done it to us. They've done it to us. Our broadcast is over. Sorry, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you for watching, cunts. Thank you for fucking.
I want to thank the Matt and Mark Movie Show for sending me that joke.
Oh my god. Does that happen to everybody? I must have been on Fubo because I didn't fucking see that.
Hulu, and the only thing I can think of is that like the person setting the time for the stream set it to stop at the exact time the awards were scheduled to finish.
Of
I'm
course,
like, is this your fucking first day? Have you never watched like the Oscars before? It goes like 40 minutes over. This is why you don't let 19-year-old interns run your shit.
Or just
it does make you wonder.
It's at 10:32 was when it ended, 7 to 10:32, and it went more than 3.5 hours for sure.
You know, the major old OG broadcasting cable networks always had, not just locally, but the big national and regional rooms where they were monitoring broadcasts. What happens with streaming? It did make me wonder, like, does that room exist at Hulu's headquarters or Disney's headquarters?
Obviously it doesn't, because when it went off, it just went off. They're done. Like
it just went
gone.
the fuck off. And like, how is that not somebody just hitting a key really quickly and just saying continue feed?
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean?
Or just why
did they set it up?
Why
to be
have it set to
completely
the time
automatic
in the first place?
Like, were they just sitting there running fucking OBS in someone's like side lunchroom?
I don't know, because
I think so.
Hulu does this with their live shows. So, for instance, like Dancing with the Stars or any of those other shows that are like quote unquote live, they will do this. They'll stream what's on ABC on Hulu, and they'll go with the flow. And they're on a tight schedule. But Netflix has sports, and and I think Hulu is trying to get into that kind of like live thing where you don't know what the ending is going to be, and they've never had issues with this before. So why do they need to set it to a specific time? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, somebody royally
the switch should just be the show is over, switch to the next show.
It just means for everybody on Hulu watching the thing, it just fucking went away. So I had to get on the internet and watch one of the live tickers to see who won Best Picture and who won Best Actress.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Damn.
It was fucked up, man. I'd like do better next year.
Yeah. I mean, every year there's some shit, but
Jeff, is your gripe Oscars related?
I don't have a gripe. I was gonna gripe about compostables, but I'll do that next week. Let's talk about
First of all, what do you guys think of Conan? I think he did good.
I think he was great. Yeah.
I did too. I thought he did his job.
A couple of his bits I really liked.
Me too.
And it was simple. It wasn't too great. And I like the old Conan.
Won't waste your time. Won't waste your time.
I mean, that was in his opening monologue was 18 minutes, and at 16 minutes, when you think it's over, he starts singing a production number. It's like,
that is so funny. I don't think he ever went as cruel as like Ricky did by any means in like Golden Globes.
Oh, hell no.
But he still was, he's so charming. He was able to make fun of everybody without being offending.
Yeah.
And that is such a hard thing to do.
How did he make those tweets comments without being offensive? He said the tweet thing, and it really wasn't that bad.
Then the substance had like, what,
Gascon's publicist? Has more curse words than, fantastic.
The Adam Sandler bit was, because that was so subtle. Like
Adam went full 90s Adam,
but they were also
great.
You saw him revert back.
If you look at that from a if they look at that from a different perspective, they're full on referencing the Zelensky shit that just happened.
Yeah,
like, but they haven't. They didn't say
a few really good ones.
Say a word about it, but that I'm pretty sure that's was.
John's boy Elon Musk also wears T-shirts and like fucking whatever. He never dresses up to the God. We're so stupid, man. We live in a fucking.
Don't call him my fucking boy.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
You're wearing his name on your sweatshirt right now.
Oh, incidentally,
we went to school there. We went to school there.
Just so everybody knows, we had to do so many edits after last week's show. We've got a button that literally just cuts John's microphone off. So,
oh, come on. For what it's worth, I'm not alone. Dasein, my brother, watched that movie after us, and he texted me unprovoked, and he said basically everything I was saying. I thought he said. So he said this guy thought this was his tree of life. He thought he was making So maybe it's in our say DNA, but we both could not fucking stand that fucking movie.
Wait,
And I'm sorry to say.
Which movie? You're talking about what movie are you talking about?
Mr. Nobody.
Exactly.
Which one? Was it one that we did?
Yes.
Yeah.
That we talked about? What did we talk about last week? Mr. Nobody?
Oh my God.
Was that last
Thank
week?
you.
That feels like a fucking
Jeff
month
is
ago.
Jeff is caught in one of the timelines that doesn't matter.
Yes.
That movie.
Yeah. Thank you,
The
John.
inconsequential.
Jeff doesn't necessarily watch these movies in the order that we record the shows. We've proven that.
You're right. What do you guys want to talk about the Oscars, or do you think everybody said what they said?
I think everybody said
John
what
loved
they
it. Nora was the early front runner. John, you talked about it in like October.
I thought I'm so happy that I think most people were under the impression that one of these two independent, produced films, The Brutalist or Anora, was going to show up in some big way. I don't think anybody expected them to really dominate the way they did, especially Anora with Sean Baker walking away with 4. I would have been really happy for either of them to win. And I liked Conclave. I think it was probably the one third in line. But man, just to see these indie films like really prove to everybody, like, we are the only people in this fucking room making edgy, thought-provoking shit right now. So come and talk to us. I mean, I just felt like that was so sexy and so cool.
Yeah.
And of course, let's shout out Sean Baker. I'm in this town where everybody does filmmaking stuff, certainly in my world, but that's, you can bump into filmmakers here just like on the street. Of course, it's Los Angeles. And there's all this taboo because of this system that is here, the Hollywood thing, where everybody's jobs are delegated out, and it bothers people that he does all those things. I think it bothers some people that he writes and produces and edits and directs and you know what? Like, who fucking cares? Like, at the end of the day, he's just somebody who wants to try to make really good work.
He's obviously doing something right.
And he's not doing it to offend anybody either. So like, anyone who is jaded over the fact that like he won all those awards, like, of course the collaborators that were involved with that film made it what it was. But this is the first time this has ever happened before, where somebody has walked away credited to a single work. And they had multiple, even Bong and Parasite's fucking awesome. But one of those awards is the Foreign Film Award. That is not a creative award.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not the same thing. And it technically doesn't belong to him. It belongs to South Korea.
Is Best Picture a creative award?
No, but he produced it. So I'll give that. There's a creative aspect to it. If you are a creative producer, you're not an exec. You know what I mean? You're not a studio.
Yeah.
You're on the ground making that movie happen and solving a lot of problems every minute of every day while you're in production.
Independent producer is definitely a creative position.
Yeah.
And then Inuyuichi with Birdman, did he not get credit for Best Picture? Is that what it is? Because he got writing, directing, but I guess not 4. I guess not. Yeah, I guess so. Not 4 is what you're saying. Let's go with
exactly.
4. He has more Oscars than
I'm not even,
he has more Oscars than Steven Spielberg.
Unbelievable.
For one night. Yeah.
So anyway, I also just want to shout out, and I want to make this point because Sean Baker has tried to make this point everywhere he's gone in some way, although I think he's done a beautiful job of not giving the same speech at all these awards. He's done a really great job of kind of gently discussing something different. He did it with 4 awards in one ceremony last night. He's also done slightly different speeches at every place he's gone to throughout the year, starting with Cannes. But this movie has made less than $50 million worldwide. It has a $6 million budget, so that's still pretty good. I think it's made less than $30 million in the U.S.
How is it only $6 million?
I think it's made...
Pay your actors. Here, these people are talking about getting paid. Somebody didn't get paid at that movie. It was only $6 million.
No. You don't pay actors like that up front for movies like that. They should get paid now that it's making money. I'm sure they have a piece, but you do not pay.
I'm all
that's
about
one part of the problem,
I'm all about it. I'm 100% with you. I'm all about it. I'm just still surprised. $6 million seems too low.
We can't be bringing in people to independent films and giving away half the budget. That's not how we're going to make these movies. But I hope they're getting paid, and I'm sure they are. But anyway, I just wanted to make the point. He ended his, I think it was the Best Director's speech when he said, we got to get back to the movie theaters. And he kind of gave that shout out to distributors. Let's try to focus on theatrical runs. This movie made 5 times its budget at this point, maybe upwards of 6 or 7, depending on how international you want to look at the numbers.
Right.
But I know most of the people in the room who voted for that movie did not go see it in theaters. And that is a real bummer.
Yeah.
I still feel like even the community that wants to see movies like Sean Baker's movies or Brady Corbet's movies, even a lot of them are sitting on their ass and just watching it at home when they finally get their guild streamer. And that is not the fucking answer, folks. Like, not everybody in the world wants to see a movie like Anora. If you are one of those people, get your fucking ass to a movie theater and actually see it. It looks way better than it did on your TV, I can promise you.
That bit that Conan did was funny, right? The bit. It's like a virtual experience where you go and you sit down and they actually put the movie on the screen.
Cinestream. Yeah.
It's like a virtual experience where you go and they stream movies on this big screen and you can get food.
Really bummed me out, dude. I read an article today, and the CEO of AMC and a couple other people were basically commenting on what Sean said, and it's way worse than the picture he painted. The numbers are down even more than he was talking about.
Oh yeah, they're actively trying to get
really
people.
Bad.
They're actively trying to get studios now to re-extend the windows because they're down in some cases to 17 days. Before
I read one article before
it turns up on
everybody's kind of pissed off at IMAX and the CEO of IMAX because he made a handshake deal not talking to theater distributors who house their IMAX theaters with Netflix to do Greta Gerwig's Narnia for like a 2-week engagement, and they're like, he didn't even talk to the theaters that house these fucking formats. So like there's all this shit going down where
there was going to be no engagement before they did that. Like they were just going to dump Narnia straight to Netflix.
Well, it's a Netflix movie. No, I'm sorry, but like that's kind of the risk you're running, and I feel like we're trying to navigate that right now. Netflix serves a purpose. I would sell a movie to Netflix like fucking that, but
you would.
I don't know if Netflix
you'd
gets
buy a
to
house
like.
If Netflix got to gave you some money for your movie, you'd do it.
I mean, come on. But I understand we can't both things. I don't know if both things can be true. You can't say fuck you to decent theatrical releases as a philosophy, and then the one time we want one, we get to supplant every other studio that might have had a fucking IMAX movie on Thanksgiving weekend. Are you kidding me? Of course they had movies, and they don't even get to be a part of the deal. I'm sure Ted threw a bunch of money at him, and he's a fucking fantastic CEO. But like that is a problem. I don't know. I think that's kind of fucked up. I don't necessarily agree that they just get to walk in whenever they want one and just get it. I mean, that seems kind of unfair to me. But
Nolan does it.
No one does it. He has deals with the
That's different. I feel like anyway. Keep going.
The only thing I want to say about the awards is I feel like this was a weak awards year, to be honest with you, and I'm very happy for these independent studios, but the only reason he won Best Editing is because he didn't have a Top Gun Maverick, and because somehow Dune 2 wasn't even nominated for film editing, even though it won the last one, so apparently that editor really did a shit job with the fucking same shit and a slightly different tone and the same tools.
He didn't even release the director.
Of course they didn't. Of course the editing was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So like, luck happens for these things. I think the acting categories were fine. I'm happy with the winners, but like it's gone are the days where you have like Meryl Streep losing to Katharine Hepburn, who's also against Susan Sarandon and Sissy Spacek and Joan Plowright and stuff. Like we're just in a different time, and these people are giving career performances. I'm not putting down the winners. I think the winners were great. I just think it was a weak Oscars, and unfortunately, even though it was a really entertaining show, even though it was 3.5 hours, I thought the speeches were pretty good. And Conan did a great job. We're going to forget about this in a month.
I don't think it's 2009.
What do you mean?
Well, you're right. It's 2025.
The year that we just did. Thank you. The year that we did a few weeks ago where we were like, wow, I don't remember it being so sparse. We were having trouble picking a movie.
Yeah.
I think this was a pretty good year. It just wasn't a standout year in terms of there wasn't a large movie that was dominating everybody's attention the way that, like on the good years, it seems to be like one or two big movies seem to be really dictating the conversation.
Barbenheimer. Those two.
Last year. That's a good example. But I still feel like, I don't know. I feel like we're going to look back on this year and be like, that actually was a pretty good year. There were some really good movies. It was just weird the way that some of them weren't heralded the way we thought they were.
Won Oscars. So let's
I didn't see that one. I feel guilty, but I did not watch it.
We'll start to wind it down.
Hold on, wait, real fast. I'm making a pitch deck for something, and I'm on Shot Deck a lot. anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's got this great website where they have these wonderful high resolution stills from all these, great movies. And I'm just looking through all these shots and I keep seeing all these crazy fucking stills of the substance where her body is doing. I haven't seen this movie. I don't really know what it's about other than the gentle premise. So I can't. Oh, wait. I want to ask you guys. I can't believe Conan was allowed to do that digital introduction. That was not kid friendly. Where he was crawling out of her.
Where he's crawling under.
Could you believe
I
that?
said that too. I was like, this is how they're opening the Oscars. Now that was the craziest, zaniest, and most R-rated thing he did in the whole show. But like, I love his old like stance and the way he like chunked his own jokes. The way like I felt like we got a little bit of old Conan in there. But yeah, I can't believe he
Classic
dove
Conan.
into a human body.
Very
he dove into a
transgressive. That was
prosthetic
pretty
body
funny.
to like, and he forgot his shoes. He had to dive back in. I couldn't believe it.
I think he cut to Demi and she was not happy about him doing that.
No. And she was like, did I just lose my Oscar? I know the votes are already in, but did I just lose my Oscar because of this? Okay.
What was your all right? One more question, then we'll get off it just because I did enjoy it. What was your favorite win? Or your favorite loss, I guess, if you're feeling mean spirited. What was your favorite win though?
Well, my
which
favorite
one were you
moment.
like, yes.
My favorite moment was when Adrian Brody talked for 2 full minutes, and then he started thanking people, and then he got mad when they played the music.
After throwing
It was
his
like,
gum
bro,
at his wife.
It was
That was so weird.
It was a really moving speech, but he was like, I love being an actor and I hope I'm worthy of this praise.
That
I
woman
just want
was
to thank
there
a few
for
people.
him.
It's like, bro, fuck you. Like, are you kidding me? Now he's thanking people. And then he thanked people. And then he was like, don't play the music. I've been here before, which is really funny. And it was great. And then he decided to make his speech, but he already made his speech. I don't know. It was really funny. He was like, wait, I just have one more thing I really want to say. And it's like, I really feel like you covered a lot of ground here up there.
He broke the record for longest speech in the Oscars by 10 seconds.
I mean, no, of course he did.
Yeah.
Of
Are
course
you
he did.
serious? That's shocking. That's kind of surprising, actually.
Is it? Were you watching?
I know, but out of all the years of the Oscars and these
He hasn't broken the
actors
record for
that
the
wanna-
longest acceptance speech because who was Mike Judge at the Video Game Awards went for 7.5 minutes or something.
Anyway,
Oh
so
my
I actually
God, why
I
did
had
he
fun
do
watching that
that?
because I was like laughing because it was a really good speech, but it was going on forever. I don't know, Dave. Do you have a bet? I mean, I guess the costume designer was awesome. He's a big Broadway guy, and then he was pulled into a Wicked movie.
That was
and
great.
that was really great.
Really special. I enjoyed that one a lot.
Dave, any standout for you? Best actress that you didn't get to see because you were behind
You're
the
right.
screen.
Yeah, that was traumatic. No, I don't think I have a favorite.
I'm just happy
I
Flo
was
won.
trying to
see
Flo
the
is my favorite
Brutalist?
win.
Did you ever
Flo
watch
is my
it?
I didn't.
Flo is my favorite win. Flo is my favorite win for best animated feature.
Did you see they had the cat there with the Oscar
Yes, that
on
was
one of the
so
side
good.
panels? Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah,
was
Flo
cute.
for best feature from Lithuania. Speaking of independent film, the independently made film beat Inside Out 2, which is a fucking awesome movie. And it deserved it. It really did. It was actually well done. It wasn't like one of those things where you have some weird, like hodgepodge, weird ass fucking animated movie being nominated. And you're like, is this really going to beat Ratatouille? Like, that was a genuine win. So fuck yeah, Flo. Go get him, Flo.
Mm-hmm. And you can watch it
Studio
now.
had a
It's
fucking
out already. I think.
animated flood movie with animals. And it was awesome. That fucking villain bird that broke that other bird's win for my Flo fans out there. I want to fucking, I never want to kill a movie creature more than that fucking bird and Flo.
Damn.
I was really
What about
happy
you?
about all of Sean's wins, but I wanted to shout out Lowell Crawley's cinematography win for The Brutalist just because apparently
Oh, yeah.
they did some really unique approaches to shooting fucking handheld and VistaVision with these old cameras. So the way that they, not just the actual eventual like result aesthetically of what they were able to achieve, but they actually thought about
to
it.
operate the camera? Fucking Popeye?
Honestly, it's a big camera, right? And it makes a lot of noise. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought
He ate his spinach.
again, that was
That's great.
I think when you watch that movie, you might be most immediately seized by how did they make it look like that with so little money?
Right.
And I just felt like that was so I just wanted to call him out, even though I thought everybody in that category probably deserved it. But really good time. Anyway, I enjoyed it, I think, more than you guys did. Let's move on. What are we talking about?
Are you ready to talk about 1962, a year we've already covered twice? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Shit.
So excited.
All right. So you've already had 2 chances.
That sounded like some reflux. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, that's how I burp. It's hard to
You got
describe.
a little intestine hanging out there. It's
I have heard you burp a
Your duodenum
gajillion
is sticking
times. That's not always how you burp.
Eh. I do burp on the show a lot. Are you guys ready? 1962. We like to start with the box office. Do you remember? And I have a feeling you don't. Do you remember what was the highest grossing movie from 1962?
Poseidon Adventure. I don't know. I'm just
God,
pulling
I
random
missed
movie
that.
titles.
No. Did that even come out this year? I don't see it on my
Probably
list.
not.
You fucking-
Is it not Lawrence? Am I fucking it up again? Did I guess that again? Boom.
Sorry to say. So
The Music
I
Man.
looked at two sites. The Music Man. Actually, the Music Man is on the list. So I'll buzz you for that. So I looked this up on two different sites like I did last time. I looked it up on The Numbers and I looked it up on just fucking Wikipedia. And in both cases, Lawrence of Arabia was outgrossed by The Longest Day.
Oh, yeah.
The Longest Day. Not by much.
Pearl
In the
Harbor
domestic
Day.
rentals, 15,250,000 to 15 million even for Lawrence of Arabia. So there you go. The Music Man, according to, I'll just do the domestic ones. I'm not going to do the numbers. According to the fucking Wikipedia, yeah. But the domestic numbers, Music Man actually came in at number 3, John. So there you go. Robert Preston, shout out.
Pretty close.
That Touch of Mink came in at number 4 on both charts. Mutiny
Wait,
on
sorry,
the
what was
Bounty.
number 2?
So Longest Day, Lawrence of Arabia.
And then
The
Lawrence.
Music
And
Man.
then, okay, thank you. Yeah.
That Touch of Mink, and then Mutiny on the Bounty comes in at number 5.
So
and
a
to round
porn
out
film was
the top
fourth.
10. That Touch of Mink, yeah, that's right. The hot movie where
60s.
they showed an ankle. And then to round out the top 10, To Kill a Mockingbird, Hatari with an exclamation point, Gypsy, Bon Voyage. Oh my God, they did it. Fucking hell, they did it again. There's actually 11 movies in the top 10 because there was a tie, and those motherfuckers, if there's a tie for 9th, there's no 10. Sorry, that's just how it works. But instead, the 11th movie gets into the 10 spot.
Counting.
These motherfuckers, I hate them. Number 9 is Bon Voyage and The Interns. They're both number 9. And the 10th highest film, despite having 10 other films that outgrossed it, is In Search of the Castaways. Also, if you look at the international chart, Lolita actually did surprisingly well. And we did spend about 10 seconds thinking about whether or not we should do Lolita on the show. And we all agreed we should not do that.
And about
That's true.
7 of those seconds were us pretending to think about it. The answer was already
That's right.
no.
That's right. That's right. It was already no. A couple other movies that made some money this year. The Days of Wine and Roses, according to this, which came out at the very end of 1962. We'll talk about this again in a second. Came out December 26th, only in Los Angeles, and then came out in 1963. So some places are going to say it came out in 1963, but it was a part of the Oscars year this year because it came out in Los Angeles December 26th, 1962. That ended up making $8 million. So, and this is 1962, so that is a profit. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance was right there. The Manchurian Candidate, Taras Bulba. I think, John, you mentioned that one. State Fair, and then Girls, Girls, Girls actually made some money at $3.5 million. A couple other things that happened this year. I've already done these. Warner Brothers bought the film rights for My Fair Lady for an unprecedented $5.5 million, plus 47% of the gross over $20 million. So, yeah, My Fair Lady ran a tough bargain. But actually, Warner Brothers signed a pretty good deal. Dr. No launches James Bond. That came out this year. It's the second longest film franchise next to Godzilla. Marilyn Monroe was found dead of a drug overdose at the age of 36. And War and Peace began filming, but would go on filming for another 5 years. At the awards, Lawrence of Arabia would win Best Picture, Best Director, and a lot of other awards. For David Lean, Best Director there, of course. Gregory Peck would famously beat Peter O'Toole, who would never go on to win an Oscar. Remnant of Glenn Close, of course, you know, for Lawrence of Arabia. But no, Gregory Peck would win. Tough. That's what I'm talking about. This is a great year. Timothée Chalamet versus Adrian Brody is great. Not quite Gregory Peck versus Peter O'Toole. Anyway, Anne Bancroft would win for The Miracle Worker. Ed Begley, whose son, Ed Begley Jr., actor, would win for The Sweet Bird of Youth. And Patty Duke would win for The Miracle Worker. So The Miracle Worker gets the 2. I don't feel like that's it. That's what do you guys want to shout any other movies out? Oh, one other movie. The 300 Spartans came out this
I was
year,
gonna mention
which
that.
did not make a lot of money. Frank Miller's 1998 graphic novel 300 also depicts the Battle of Thermopylae. And Frank Miller viewed The 300 Spartans, the movie that came out in 1962, as a boy. He saw it as a boy. And he said it changed the course of his creative life. And Frank Miller's graphic novel, of course, inspired the film 300, which launched Zack Snyder to doom and gloom and a whole lot of money for him and a whole lot of Dave standing up for him on behalf of him in his movies to a lot of haters.
Which then suddenly stopped.
Yeah, that's true. What else do you want to shout out?
I definitely want to shout out the OG Godzilla versus King Kong versus Godzilla.
Ah,
I think that was this year. The Trial of Joan and Arc. I guess that was a remake. Sidney Lumet's Long Day's Journey Into Night. Another heavy drinking movie. Polanski's first feature, Knife in the Water. I feel like that's worth mentioning. Godard's Virsa. How do you say that, you guys? Vivresa, separate word, V-I-E.
I think it's Vivre.
Vivre sa vie. Jules and Jim, definitely want to shout that out. Carnival of Souls, I still have never seen it. La Clese, I've never seen that. Like an asshole, it's supposed to be amazing.
What the fuck are you talking
Agus
about right now?
Varda's
What are
Cleo
these
from
movies
5
you're
to
talking
7.
about? It's just so many
These are
international films.
Popular movies. Orson Welles' The Trial.
he's got a film school textbook sitting just behind the camera.
Your film school professors are like, we should have
Fuck
given you
you.
better grades.
And then my main man, the greatest one,
You're my
Ivan's
man.
Childhood, Tarkovsky's first feature. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
my name
sure I
is
said this last
Ivan.
time, but I don't think I really. Polanski and fucking Tarkovsky make their first features the same year. That is awesome.
Wait, you know who else made their first feature this year? Bertolucci made his first feature this year. And Jackie Chan was in his first movie this year too. But yeah, Bertolucci made his first feature this film. I just didn't write it down.
Which one was it? Sorry.
Fuck, you look it up. I don't know. I don't remember. Schlesinger also had
which
A Kind of
movie is
Loving, which won the Golden Bear. The Golden Bear was won by a Schlesinger film. So the big names. I don't remember.
Now I want to know what movie you're talking.
I didn't write it down. I didn't feel like it.
Oh, come on. All right, let's do it.
A couple world events. So the big thing is the Cuban Missile Crisis had a big year here in 1962.
Did they want? And there were almost no more years.
And there were almost no more years. That's right. John F. Kennedy, who ordered the Cuban blockade, bought 1,200 Cuban cigars right before the embargo. So that motherfucker was like, I'm smoking these banned cigars all for the rest of his life. Of course, he probably didn't need to buy so many if that was going to be the case. Two buzzes.
That was a bad one.
It was bad.
Great shot.
The first transatlantic television transmission occurred via the Telstar satellite, making worldwide television and cable networks a reality. And Johnny Carson takes over duties hosting
Your mother's a whore,
The
Carson.
Today Show. Jesus Christ, you shut up. So the Today Show. Johnny Carson hosting the Today Show started this year and would go on until I think 1990. We did it for like 30 years. Okay, let's have some fun facts. You ready? 1962. The median household income of the U.S. was $6,000 a year. A new house cost $12,500. Did you hear that?
Wow.
So if the median household income was $6,000, a new house cost $12,000.
What a house
so
payment
just
is now.
double what you made last year, and you could buy a house with that. When was the last time you looked at your W-2 and you were like, wait a second, in 2 years I can buy a house? How insane
That's not
is
even
that?
how mortgages work. So that means that working like 3 months of your first year, you could have bought a house. You could have started your mortgage. Like, oh my God.
Did you see this movie about a bunch of drunks and they just fucking keep getting new apartments? They
At least
moved into
they're
an
shitty
apartment. well, the one that she burned down was really nice. That was glass and
first
everything.
one,
I was
yeah.
like, woo!
That was
we're in
sexy.
like a
That was sexy.
we're in like a Neil Simon apartment here with like glass and shit everywhere. It was great. Okay. A new car was $2,900. Milk was $1 a gallon. Well, $1.04 to be exact. Eggs were 32 cents a dozen. That is going to change. Pride of the
Add your
Farm ketchup.
zeros.
Pride of the Farm ketchup cost 19 cents for a 14-ounce bottle. Frozen food, bird's eye pot pies. That's right. Bird's eye pot pies. Assorted varieties cost 19 cents for an 8-ounce pie.
Bird's eye Popeyes.
And a pound of bacon cost 69 cents. A couple companies were founded in 1962. So the baby boomers are starting their own companies now. 1962. As long as they're white. You got AccuWeather, Crate and Barrel, the whitest company of all time. Dress Barn, Enterprise Car Sales. That's right.
Serious?
1962. Yeah. Enterprise Car Sales. Kohl's, Lotus Communications, Nationwide Stores. Sorry, National Stores. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. Pier 1. Remember Pier 1 and Pier 1 Imports? Rite Aid starts in 1962. The Roadway Inn. Definitely some murders there. Taco Bell, 1962. Wet Seal. I don't know what that is, but it sounds sexy.
Whoa.
Woolco.
Yeah.
And guess what?
The Eskimos dream of.
Last but
Do
not
you guys
least.
think they still serve the meat from 1962 at your local Taco Bell?
Hey, you're eating meat now. You go ahead and let us know. Have the tacos and then pass it and see what you think. And last but not least, Sam Walton opened the first Walmart in Rogers,
Jesus.
Arkansas. And those motherfuckers have been ruining our economy ever since. Also, this is fun. The first St. Jude Children's Research Hospital opened. Guess where it opened? There's no way you're going to guess it. Give me 3 guesses, quick.
I would have guessed New York. I don't know. Where is it?
Wrong. What else?
Sure.
Wrong. Memphis.
Minneapolis.
No, shut up. No, forget it.
Oh, I was going to go for another M.
Oh, yeah. Great Britain and France agreed jointly to build the Concorde supersonic airliner. What the fuck is with this Concorde? Every year we have a Concorde stat from like this 1960 to 2000 because they were so fast.
That dominated quite a bit of my imagination as a young child.
I don't think Concorde quite made it to 2000.
It's also the name of my town.
That's true. Concord, North Carolina. Look it up.
Hey, easy. You don't have to give away the whole.
I mean, were they going to go find you there? You're not there. Adolf Eichmann was executed in Israel after being found guilty of war crimes. Yeah, etc. You know that. Okay. Here are some. Actually, that's a really good documentary. I looked it up. He denied everything. I'm sorry, bro. He was like, I was following orders. He tried every single thing. You get the fuck out of here. You're getting murdered, bro.
Yeah.
He was in Argentina and then he was totally caught. And then he went there and he was like, what? I was following orders. I didn't do most of the bad stuff. And they were like, you did plenty. You're dead. Okay. Here are some sports facts. The Boston Celtics were the NBA champs. The New York Yankees won the World Series. Brazil won the World Cup. Toronto Maple Leafs clinched the Stanley Cup.
Oh my God, lean back from your fucking microphone.
Was Pele on that Brazil team?
No, it was a little before Pele's time.
Damn.
And decidedly won. I don't know. You look it up. Decidedly won the Kentucky Derby. He probably was. I think that might have been his youngest season. He was probably 17. Now my dad used to go see him play. Oh, but that was when he was old. Yeah, fuck.
He was
Decidedly.
born in 40.
Okay, then he was definitely on that team. He was definitely on that team. Decidedly won the Kentucky Derby. That's right. The Kentucky Derby was decided by Decidedly.
That was a good gag.
A horse with a sense of humor.
Write your own Who's on First sketch. Jackie Robinson became the first African American to be elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. And then here you go. You ready? The top 5 most popular TV shows. Beverly Hillbillies, number 1. Candid Camera, number 2. Nah, that does not get old. Candid Camera was probably funny then as it is now.
Yep.
The Red Skelton Show.
It's getting harder now that I'm in the toilet, sir.
Bonanza and the Lucy Show. And you ready? This is the most random shit. I wish I wrote down what this was from. I'm sorry about the site, but I want to do this. This is the last thing I have for this. Here are 10 cool food and beverage trends for the year.
Yes.
I'm going to go backwards from 10. Tunnel of Fudge Cake. Tunnel of Fudge Cake, number 10.
That was my stage name.
Why does it smell in here?
Wait, you're not even close to each other. You're so far away. Takeaway pizza, number 9. Takeaway pizza.
Some things never get old.
Cool trend of 1962. Spam. I think Dave still eats Spam.
On occasion, I will
Number
spam.
8. instant oatmeal, which I have basically every day. Also, I hope it's not instant, but
still so good.
Also, again, I hope not instant mashed potato flakes.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Just the flakes.
How about this? The fact that we call this a food trend is funny. Gelatin molds, which I believe is Jell-O, but gelatin molds, number 5. Fruit Loops, number 4.
Well, it's Jell-O. It's hard Jell-O.
Fruit Loops.
Diet Right, RITE.
Sure, yeah, right soda, baby.
First no-calorie soft drink. If it's no calorie, I don't know what those chemicals are, but don't want to put them in my body.
Delicious.
Yeah. It's just pure aspartame. Top 2, chicken cacciatore.
Wow, what a way up there for one Italian
specific
dish.
is that?
Pizza.
I also never knew that word had so many plosives in it.
I'm gonna get my pop screen. If this segment is that terrible, I'll get my pop screen.
I don't think I've ever ordered chicken cacciatore anywhere. Have you? It's really fallen off its popularity since 1962.
Yeah. I feel like I have. I definitely ordered it from like a card table that they put paper down as
I've only had it in like a TV dinner kind of situation.
Well, that's 1962. This is somewhere that's green, right? A picture out of Better Homes and Gardens magazine, plastic on the furniture, and chicken cacciatore with fucking tin foil around it coming out of the oven, so that the man can come home and eat his chicken. Last but not least, are you ready?
And what's number 1?
Chicken a la king.
That used to be a regular staple in my house.
Chicken, baby.
Chicken.
Hell yeah.
So the last 2 were chicken. The top 2 were chicken. So there you go. That's
perfect. Delicious.
There you go.
I'm hungry. Now I'm just really hungry.
Yeah. So after that, are you guys ready to talk about Days of Wine and Roses?
Yeah, now that I'm super tipsy, let's talk about this movie about alcoholism.
Okay. Yeah, I was drinking out of the bottle and I was like, I got to finish this before we get into this conversation here. I don't want to be insulting.
Method podcasting.
That's right. So Days of Wine and Roses, this is a renter. We did have to rent it. If you see something that's on Tubi that's a different movie from 1957 or 1958, it's not this one, although it's shorter. This is written by J.P.
It's the Playhouse
Miller.
90 version, which was the original version of this.
This also was adapted to a Broadway musical, which I saw last year. So maybe it'll come up in our conversation.
Adam Gettle. I didn't know he
written by Tony Award winner Adam Gettle, and starring finally people who are older than the age of 18. They actually can have roles. So it starred Brian Darcy James and Kelly O'Hara, who looks a surprising amount like Lee Remick. And honestly, Brian Darcy James kind of looks like Jack Lemmon too. So it was like perfect casting. It was great.
Was it good?
Very jazzy. I'm pretty sure they had scat scenes like we're drunk. They had like a lot of jazzy scenes. It was great.
They could have been actual lyrics. They were just drunk.
You're right. There
were intended lyrics.
So it was written by
Speaking of method.
Here we go. You ready? It was written by J.P. Miller. Before he started writing, he boxed professionally as Tex Frontier. So a man who once boxed as Tex Frontier wrote this movie. Otherwise, the team, largely helmed by director Blake Edwards, and his cinematographer, whose name I did not write down in my notes, they would the very next year, 1963, would team up for The Pink Panther, starring Peter Sellers. So maybe this movie was a big launching pad.
H. Lathrop. Or Lathrop.
What's funny is I literally wrote that right here. I see it. Philip Lathrop, cinematography. He also did Earthquake. So you can thank your Universal ride that you had forever.
It sounds like Lathrop. The sound it makes when you whip your dick out in the gin bar or something.
And
fuck John too.
Lathrop.
Anyway, so they would team up. So that's director Blake Edwards' team. And this movie would win 1 Academy Award, which of course would go to Henry Mancini. So before we get into this conversation about this movie, Henry Mancini.
Is it Mancini or Mancini?
Well, Mancini is the Italian way, but I feel like Americans would say Mancini, but it's Mancini is Italian if you want to be proper. Henry Mancini. Here's a little quick fact about him. You ready? So this is the man who...
Cacciatore.
Shut up. Chicken cacciatore. That is 2 C's anyway, you dick. Fucking hell. Mancini.
Cacciatore.
So the man, Henry Mancini, the man who wrote Moon River and the Pink Panther theme, probably shouldn't be defined by his awards, but he did go 4 for 18 at the Oscars. He has 4 Oscars for music out of 18 nominations.
Almighty, dude.
He also won 20 Grammys and was nominated for 72 Grammys. He was nominated for 72 Grammys. He also won the first ever Grammy for Album of the Year for the music of Peter Gunn. Hold on, I have an ad, so I can't play it out loud. Fuck this. This is an ad. Shut up. Okay, here we go. Tell me you don't know this song.
Yeah, we all know the theme. You're going to get it.
It's blocking it out.
Yeah, thank God, because otherwise we'd end up with a copyright strike just for playing that through a microphone.
Sing it. Sing the song. Just sing it.
Da bum 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 bum.
Just picture Carrie Fisher with a rocket launcher.
He won the first ever Grammy for Album of the Year for that theme, basically. And he would win an Oscar for his title song, Days of Wine and Roses. Yes, that's the one. Yeah. I don't know. Is it that one? I can't tell. Anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and read the IMDb description like I always do, and then we're going to talk about Days of Wine and Roses, which is a first watch for all of us, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Here we go. Renter. An alcoholic marries a young woman and systematically addicts her to booze so they can share his, quote, passion, end quote, together. What'd you think? What'd you feel? Shooting from the hit. No stuffy criticism. Days of Wine and Roses. Take it away.
Dave, what was it like as a newly sober individual?
Yeah.
Watching this movie?
This was this took me along for a ride, and you're like laughing and having fun because it's quite quirky at the beginning, and then they just rip the rug out and you never quite get your balance again. For me, this was like a fucking horror film. This was like the second half of this. It was intense. It was more intense than I was expecting, that's for sure.
Yeah.
John?
All right. Then I'll follow that up by saying I greatly preferred the second half. That blurb led me to believe that it was going to be, I'm not going to lie, I was prepared for kind of a cringy movie because I thought maybe, it's made in the 60s. I thought that they were going to try to like spin that alcoholism was cool and maybe just kind of give a nod comedically to how it's not cool.
Not.
But the quirky stuff at the beginning was probably, I struggled more to really stay moment to moment with the performances in the beginning. And then the last half of this film, I was on the edge of my seat. I was like vocally responding to the film. When he reaches for the bottle in that amazing scene that definitely won her the Oscar, when he goes to the motel, when he finally reaches for it, I was like, no. I literally said no.
Neither of them won an Oscar, but it's okay.
I did that twice.
Oh, I thought she won the Oscar.
We just did this breakdown for the third time.
I usually just mute you when you
the Miracle Worker won the 2 female Oscars.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry, but she was nominated.
Sorry, Dave.
And
of course she was.
And I kept waiting in the first half to be like, where's that nomination scene? Because they're laughing a lot, which
Is there THC in their booze back then?
Yeah, there's a whole lot of giddy, which I always struggle with a little bit. Nobody was an angry drunk in this movie. Let's put it this way. There was a very specific
come on. Jack Lemmon was a dick when he was drunk in the first 2 scenes. He was drunk, the opening scene, but then he was yelling at her. He was definitely a dick.
Yeah, you're right. And she was very cruel to him in a way when she was at the motel. You're right. But there were a lot of, and on a superficial level, when they were having fun together and drinking, there was a lot of over-the-top laughter. Dave, you're right. Very quirky is a good word for it. But then the second half, basically after he goes into treatment the first time, it really turned for me, and I was really all in, and I thought everything about the filmmaking that happened in that last half really pulled me in as well. So I'll say what I say on the show a lot, putting that time capsule hat on. My favorite movie about alcoholism is The Lost Weekend, Billy Wilder's, which he made in the 40s. I think it's 45, 40, somewhere around there. So this was quite a bit after that, almost 20 years after that. But alcoholism was still very widely accepted in the United States. I think most of our grandparents who grew up here were drinking very heavily. It was just so accepted. So I still try to imagine an audience wanting to go see a movie with Jack Lemmon in the lead. By the way, this was his production company's first film. So he got this material out of Playhouse 90, saw the TV show, thought it was fantastic, said, I want to do that for my first film. So just from a commercial, industry standpoint, it was a really good way to get people into the theater. You're going to come watch somebody like him who's accessible, has some comedic stuff going for you, for sure. And then it's really going to turn a corner and it's going to come home hard. I loved the end of this movie. The fucking balls that they had to end it like that. I just thought that was so courageous and so true. And I was so moved by where this movie went to. I wish I didn't feel that same way about the first half. I had fun, but I kept waiting. I was like, what's happening? What am I supposed to be laughing, or is this absurd? But the last half fucking aces for me. I really enjoyed it. How about you, Jeff?
I agree with both of you so much. I remember I was about to just be like, fuck you, John, for saying exactly that. Because my overall takeaways, I enjoy the second half more. In fact, to the point where the scenes in the second half, which seem pretty stripped away, especially when he has the AA sponsor, that guy, their scenes and then his scene with her when he's sober and she's drunk were incredible. I was so moved and hanging on, and the quotes and lines were so visceral to the scene. So it wasn't just pull quotes that were great. It was oh my God, it was so moving. The first half, though, I really remembered in the musical, because the musical is a very faithful adaptation to this film, meaning it's very, they didn't take a lot of liberties. I think there's one thing that was really fun, which is they had the daughter sing a song to the mom who was in the hospital. Maybe they wrote a little subplot, but I think they just wanted a daughter song. It was a letter. So she sings a letter she wrote to her mom. Basically I love you. We're thinking about this. I hope you get well. And obviously the kid doesn't realize what she's sick with. I'm glad in the movie they just waited until the last scene. Sorry, not spoiling much, but I remember I wrote down, because this wasn't exactly in the musical, but I guess a little bit, but it is a musical. Jack Lemmon is an asshole. I actually said, I was good on him to be the main character and risk being unlikable very early in this. Not even just on the boat where he's looking at the girls and because that's kind of funny, and I could see that that getting a laugh where he's talking to her and he's you didn't dress, come on honey, why didn't you dress with more sparkle and peekaboo, like I said. And it's actually Lee Reddick, who's a secretary. But then the elevator scene, he was a total creep, and then of course he walks away, and then as soon as he walks away, she's wait, why'd you walk away? And it's okay, fine, that's all good.
Oh my God, the first time she made him, I really related to that, because with his faulty efforts to impress her, she really put him through the ringer to get that date. And
I was just joking. Yeah. I was kidding with you, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's funny because when I first met my wife, I think it was maybe we went from sharing an apartment to living together over the space of 6 months, but we were still in the apartment living together. So,
right.
It brought back trauma. It brought back trauma.
There's even another scene. The scene where I think they pull him off an account where he's talking to that guy for a long time, and then he goes home and he starts yelling at her and stuff. There were a lot of scenes like that at the beginning, and it moves a lot, and the relationship, I like the time jumps and everything. But yeah, I would say it's tough. But then and sometimes it even turns into noir. I think the second half of this movie is just, you can't skip the first half, but it's I feel it's usually been the opposite. It hasn't been the way. I don't know the last time that I loved a second half of a movie so much. I was so compelled.
Well, here's the thing. It starts you off with this fun life of them getting together and all that sort of thing. I think it's necessary for the second half to be so effective, because it really takes you down and then only brings you halfway back.
Right. I love the
is
shroud
it going to work out? Yeah.
I love the shroud over it, where he basically he comes off the account because he doesn't want to be just arranging call girls, but then he has to go on the different account, and then he's basically being demoted, and it's kind of in there that he's being demoted because he's an alcoholic, but they're not saying it. But then they have the really nice apartment because they think things are going well, and it's all a mirage. And then she burns it the fuck down. I wish they showed it. Fine, they didn't show it, but that was really powerful.
They didn't show it, but when she, did you not like the cigarette smoke in the foreground? Because I thought it
No,
was
of course.
just enough to kind of nod
Yeah.
to like,
I
is
knew
that
that-
a fucking fire?
I knew
Well,
that
of
was
course,
going to
again,
happen. Like,
I
yeah.
have to be honest. I saw it in the musical, and actually in the musical it worked really well. They didn't actually show the fire, but you saw like the cigarette on stage, and even on stage, you're sitting there, you're like, "Whoa, I feel like that could cause a fire," and you're
Somebody
like,
left a cigarette.
there,
Yeah.
exactly. So like, I feel like
they really telegraphed it. I'm going to
It
turn
was- yeah.
spoiler alert on just so that we can talk freely.
but we all liked it a lot. Go see it; it makes you think, and
It's
it'll stay
definitely,
with you.
definitely
Yeah.
worth watching.
I mean,
Very direct commentary.
it's a
on,
rental, so watch it at home. Yeah.
It is.
Do
It
it.
is.
Very direct commentary on Alcoholics Anonymous and trying to really promote that. Blake Edwards, Lee Remick, and Jack Lemmon all entered Alcoholics Anonymous within a year of finishing this film.
Finishing.
All of them acknowledged.
I mean,
Yeah.
it makes you fucking think.
Yeah, exactly. I think so many people back then were probably doing this so casually that it wasn't as culturally normal.
I'm
And even now,
gonna
in the
get
world,
fucking straight jackets
America
for
is
you
one of the
guys.
only countries that really does that.
You know
It's
what I
not as
think,
popular
too?
in Europe.
And I love this too. And there are a lot of movies about. I think Mad Men does a good job with is it June? What's the character's? What's Don's wife's name
I've never seen it.
in the?
Betty.
Sorry, Betty.
January Jones,
We
Betty.
we get to give her a lot of time, but movies, mixed bag. Can you imagine? I mean, she was a secretary, so she was working, and she was a good. It was just not justice. She was working, but there were probably so many stay-at-home wives that were alcoholics because society deemed that as a responsibility, and nobody really, So things have come a long way in a good way, but like. That was good because that's not what you think about. You think it's Jack Lemmon's movie and he's the alcoholic and he convinces her to drink. But I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of people relating to her in this movie too.
Yes, I mean, speaking of things that come a long way, when she says she doesn't drink but she likes chocolate and he immediately orders a chocolate alcohol.
Yeah.
Don't do that, fellas.
Yep.
Don't do that. That's not classy at all. You're a fuckwit. Don't do it.
But he's an alcoholic, and
I did think it did
poison
a
is
good
God.
job. Again, I don't want to I was very my antennae were up for cringe moments because I thought that's what this movie was all going to be. How powerful was the question and answer though because of the chocolate moment?
Yeah.
I loved,
Oh yeah.
dude, it might be my favorite cut in the whole movie is to his close up when she says, "Why can't we just go back to the good old days when I just wanted some chocolate?" And
Oh my God.
And it lands on
Yeah.
him, and you're like, "Oh God!" And he's starting to think. It's like you see these primordial beings of the '60s learning to think about psychology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at least him, and she's going totally the opposite way, of course. In defense of her, what you were saying, both of you were kind of acknowledging that this woman started drinking because of him. One of the obvious scenes that you're waiting for the whole movie, I thought they really nailed, and it's when he goes to pay her father back or start making payments. And you're waiting for that moment because the guy was so fucking poised and stoic, not judgmental. He was judgmental. You knew how he felt.
Yeah.
He wasn't some happy-go-lucky, naive person. He was aware from the jump that there was something he didn't like about him. But when he finally got emotional and choked him and said, "You got my girl drinking," and then the shame again, the shamelessness of the writing, which is so. It doesn't feel expositional or yada, just oh, she's not here, so we have to talk about her. It felt so organic. When you find out the context, because the time jumps were so effective, this is taking place over years of their life.
Yeah.
When you find out that at that moment, she had been living with her father for probably months at that point, if not maybe a year, and he eventually. There you go, guys. That's a screenwriting essay, right? Or lesson right there. We open with, "Where is she? She's not here. She went out with another fella."
Yeah, exactly.
It ends with, I don't know where she is. She hasn't been home in 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, so you think, oh, we're kind of where we were in the last one. She might start seeing other guys. She might start stepping out. No, now she's not living with Jack. And now her father, she is sleeping with other guys, but her father actually can't even keep up with her. I mean, that's just like what they were able to achieve with her being off screen in the latter half of this film is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that it all builds.
And they put that fear that she might do this in your head like 20 minutes before.
Yeah, they pace it really well. I'm not much of a writer, but I do know that the scenes in which both characters need something from the other person tend to work really well, especially when it's not obvious. And when the dad wants to be furious at Jack Lemmon, and he is furious at him, but he's also the only one that understands her. And he kind of needs to connect with somebody that understands his predicament and his situation. That is a fucking powerful scene while he's sitting there trying to pay him back. And he's like, where is she? Okay, I understand. And he's like, actually, and he's like, dad can't help it. He can be mad at him, but also give in to him. And actually, John, you mentioned close up. My favorite, and it's so fucking, I don't know, they did it so simple back then. Your simple wides into mediums, and then you choose your spot for your close ups. You live on close up, and then you pull back. You don't go back and forth. You don't overcut. Was he goes to visit Pop for the first time, and he's explaining what his job is. And I forget what the exact moment is. And the first close up is to Pop in the scene. And it's the three of them. I don't think Lee Remick gets one. But then it goes back to Jack Lemmon and they're going back and forth about what his job is. And you're sitting there and it's like, is it about the job? Like, what is it about the dad? But it's actually like, he's basically like, he just thinks he's a swarmy guy. He just doesn't trust Jack Lemmon. I don't think he cares about.
I mean, he knows something's up, and that payoff happens straight after that in the garden where he turns the light off, and he drops the "We got married 2 hours ago." And when he said that, I was like, outside. "Oh, you fucked up!" I literally said that out loud. I was like,
"That's
oh."
bad, yeah. And he's like, you can tell he's like, I'm just trying to be honest with you, but yeah.
Yeah, Jeff, you're right. When he said to both your things in the kitchen, when he says, and what do you do when that corporation does something bad?
I think that's what it is. I think it basically, it's like, less about the company. Because you also have, it's like Arneson's florist or something. Arneson looks a lot like Arson. And then he's a PR person who basically like just makes everything great for people. So it's very on the nose, like their professions, like literally like Arson. And there was no fire, but like he destroyed his, like that you do something destructive.
Right? Yeah.
But you are a PR guy. Obviously he was a drinker. I think the dad could start to snort that out, that he likes to have a good time. And basically his job is he'll do whatever the fuck he wants for the people that want to help him. And that's his job, essentially. Like, I'm obviously oversimplifying what PR is for him, especially, but like, that is what his job is. At this particular point, the Duke has a yacht and wants young, attractive girls. That was his job. And that's his account. That's not even his job. That's his account. His account is to make this guy happy when he wants girls. Fucking weird, right? And
but it is good. It is good that
character.
It is good that it's so simple, but we already knew at that point that Jack Lemmon was conflicted about that being the bulk of his responsibility with his biggest client, was basically pimping women into his presence for his after work parties. Yeah. So it was, that's a very simple technique, but it really worked. And I think it is because of the way that they covered the father. Dave, in that moment you're talking about, when he turns off the light, he just stands there. I love the staging. Yeah. He doesn't like turn off the light and walk away to let him know I saw you. He stands there, turns off the light, and they look at him and they cut back and forth once or twice to let him know, like, I see you. Right? I fucking see you. Let me go back really fast, though, because I want to just put people in the mind of Lee Remick for a second. It takes not very long to film movies. It is not a theater run. You don't get to find your character over a long period of time of rehearsal and then a long, hopefully a good, nice months or maybe even a year or multiple years run. When you see your name on a call sheet and you see the way we're going to be shooting things and you're not an idiot, so you read the script and you're Lee Remick and you realize, oh my God, the entire arc of my character is being developed off screen. And they're going to meet me at the biggest scene in this movie when I have to be wasted. And it's not just me playing drunk. It has to be the most emotionally consequential scene for my scene partner, my husband. This is the biggest scene in the movie for both of us. And it's all up to me. If I blow this, if I'm not good at what I do, people are going to be looking at me the whole time because they're going to be mad I'm not doing a good job at playing drunk. And they're not going to realize what's happening to him because they're not going to believe it's that hard for him to experience this. I cannot imagine the pressure. And Jesus fucking Christ, it is hard to play drunk. that scene was beautifully shot, so simply shot, but gorgeous, simple. The fused cinematography, the shadows, the shades and everything, and very simple, really gross, simple production design. And it was all about her, and everybody in the room knew it. Jack knew it. The cinematographer knew it. Blake Edwards knew it.
It was a long scene, too.
They just gently pan and tilts, just following this person around in the moment. And when they cut to Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, they changed cinematography styles.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. They changed styles at least 3 times during that scene.
That was a full-on noir for me. Look at John. Look at the picture behind John. Look at that.
Yeah, that is the scene. Oh, my goodness. I'm not kidding y'all. I know I mentioned it, but when he reached for that bottle, I was like, no, I like a tear was in my eye. I was so upset.
I got upset as well.
He loved her so much. Oh my God.
Because like you're kind of hoping that he'll, like you hope that they pull through. You think there's going to be a happy ending to the story, and it never gets there.
It
left me with a little bit of hope personally, but yeah, I don't know.
A tragic hope, if any hope, right? Like hope for him. I didn't have any hope for her by the end of it.
I had hope for her because she turned left instead of walking into the bar on her right.
Sure. Although she didn't come from that bar, though, did she?
No.
Because she was sober.
Yeah.
No. I see what you're saying.
If she had turned right and gone into the bar, that would have been an entirely different ending to that film.
Although this movie showed us in the language and the way that they created all of their heaviest drinking scenes, these people drank alone at home. So it did because I thought the same thing, Dave. I was like, is she going to go in? And then when she turned left, I was even more scared because I was like, she's going straight to the liquor store. She doesn't want anyone to see her.
Yeah.
She's going to get fucked. Sorry, what was I saying? Oh, God damn it. It was another screen or anything. Oh, yeah. So because there were so many well set up, very simply set up sequences, Jeff said, when people need something from each other, where there was literally a setup scene, what we might call a preparation scene, where somebody might pull the slingshot back and say, don't do this, or careful, this will happen, or make sure this doesn't happen. And then the next sequence is a slow, terrible, or really intense and loud and whatever play out of, oh my God, they're going to do it. And they finally get to that place and it's worse than you thought it was going to be. And it just made me think of that great adage that Kubrick used to always say that basically movies are all around 6 to 8 sequences. And you just need to set them each up really, really well. And you got a movie. And I couldn't stop thinking about how clean the writing structure was in this movie. And I don't want to underplay. It was able to do that with giant time leaps, which can be really distracting and difficult. And I just thought it worked so well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I did also like how they used like Lemmon's comedy talents a little bit to, like when he came home smashed drunk and she's upstairs with the baby and he face plants into the glass and laughs to himself and then he rips the flowers out. It's like when you're that smashed drunk, you can't focus on the little things. And that was exactly what they were telegraphing. It's like he's that drunk. He can't really comprehend how to get his hands to grab those flowers. And then, of course, he snaps the head off him in the elevator. It's like that was the perfect portrayal of how drunk he came home. But he face planted into the window, gave you a little bit of levity. Then you walk upstairs and they get into that fight and he has that moment with the baby.
Ooh, what a fight.
If this, I swear, if this was shot today, he would have vomited in that crib.
The performances were incredible. John said it a second ago. I mean, they're incredible. And even the musical is pretty good, of course, but like the sequence with the plants didn't sit well with me when I saw the musical where he just goes and destroys the greenhouse. The progression.
One, yeah. No, I'm talking about when he gets the flowers out of the garden to take up to her because he's late.
The first one. I know what you mean. And then he has those shitty flowers.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Doesn't he get mad at her then too? I can't remember.
He does, absolutely. Yeah. That's what.
Yeah, because she never wants to hang out. He asked her to start drinking again because she's nursing.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, people
do ruin your shape." Remember,
and then at the end, he feels bad.
Terrible line.
Oh, he says it'll ruin your shape. Yeah, but then he like apologizes and he like starts like crying. So even though there's a couple times where they basically he goes through withdrawal the way that someone with like heroin would, like 2 days, 3 days. I guess it's possible, but I mean, it's like it's different. They're in straitjackets and things, and it's like it's pretty. First of all, also,
that's what they do to you when they find you in the streets.
He's pissing himself a lot. I guess so. Anyway, it was a
drank
lot.
like 3 bottles of scotch.
I know. No, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But
you get pretty fucked up. I've done that.
The bottle's God. What did you do when you found the bottle in the plant? He's like, well, I drank it all. Did you share it? Why didn't you share it? See, the bottle is God. I feel like all that stuff really worked. I feel like though the scene in the hotel room is going to be like, that's going to be that climactic scene, as you mentioned before. It is a very long scene. But it was one of those weird things where I actually feel like he wasn't drinking for the booze. He was drinking for her. I feel like it was like he was actually trying to save his marriage. But then the bottle won, which is why he went out and did that whole thing. And it was like, I think that was the most heartbreaking for me. And also I couldn't look away. It was the weird, because like, it wasn't about the booze. It was about her.
You want him to make it.
Lost Weekend
he lost her because of her. Yeah.
Lost Weekend is like I said, I think is my favorite early movie about alcoholism. But this movie's greatest achievement was showing the complex messiness of when love and alcoholism are intertwined.
Yeah.
When it becomes a part of your behavior of relationships. Yeah. This was not a story about a bachelor that happened to get married and he's an alcoholic. Like, it was very much a glue. And that's why I want to celebrate the ending scene so much. That was a total surprise to me, that it was going to be mostly a story about him making peace with that conflict that you just said. He did start drinking again for her. I don't think he had ever thought about how could one of us get better and the other one not.
Yeah.
How that wouldn't actually get in the way of our love, right?
And he also, when she's like, why don't we do this? And we try it. And he's like, I tried that. I tried it. I did try that in a way.
I thought they also covered it so well with we're all of a certain age. I think we all have had family members or friends struggle with addiction. The way they kept her perspective and her experience at a distance in that last scene, so that it was entirely his perspective, so that when she said that, I don't remember the exact line, but when she basically said, I don't want to quit, she's basically saying, I don't love you enough to do that. I have no interest in pursuing that. And I just thought I was shocked at how real that was. And again, her playing that, again, what a tall order. The last time you saw me, I was wrecked. Now I'm going to play 2 days sober for the first time I've ever been sober in probably 7 years. And everything that's going to be happening to me. And I'm also going to have to go over there with my daughter in the next fucking room that I haven't seen in years. And I'm going to basically break up with my husband unless he says it's okay to take me back as the drunk that I am. This woman, I think Jack Lemmon did a good job in this movie. I was absolutely devastated by her performance in the second half of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe how good she was.
She was phenomenal.
I can't believe how mature the storytelling was.
I really trust in him too. Those scenes.
It's really funny. Like, you get to experience as well that moment when he's going to AA and he's going to speak for the first time. And you get to experience that through another person. I was on the edge of my fucking seat whether he was going to admit he was an alcoholic or not. I was like, come on, do it.
So simple, too. So simple.
And it was such a
cigarette thing at the beginning.
You're like, come on, do it. Because you know what happens if he doesn't.
But then that's it. That's all you had to do. I didn't need a speech. We didn't need a speech. No. Also, I love that he kept being like, we have time for a cigarette. Oh, I need to wait out here with the cigarette. And then you go inside and everybody's smoking cigarettes. And they made it very
don't worry, they're smoking
inside. Well, and he's like, oh, we got to have the cigarette out here. And of course, we're watching this in the future. I'm like, yeah, you should finish that cigarette before you go in. And then as soon as they cut in, the filmmaker shows a bunch of normal looking people, half of whom are smoking cigarettes. And it's like, it's very obviously like he could have easily just brought that cigarette inside. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was well done too, Dave. That was good.
Yeah.
I also love the symmetry back.
They didn't waste a lot of these scenes at all. There was nothing wasted in this.
Well, then good symmetry, and symmetry. Maybe people spend too much time on symmetry nowadays to have like every single line in their movie like make sense and come full circle. But when she's talking about like a pretty girl knows when she's pretty, especially in 1962. And you know when you're being asked to go on yachts, and you know when you're being told you didn't wear your dress because you look like one of the call girls. Like, I love that whole sequence. Like, a pretty girl knows when she's pretty. And then later she says, it's that whole thing, like anything worth having is worth suffering for. But she also says like, I can't remember the exact line, but she says, I drink because I know what I look like when I'm sober. I know what I look like. I'm sober. I look myself in the mirror and it's like, how could anybody live with themselves like that? So I drink so that I'll be pretty, basically. And it's like, wow, And it's also with the time lapse, it's kind of an aging thing too, where it's like she just wants to, because all she wants to do is go back. Why don't we go back to the beginning? Let's go back to the start. It's like she can't get used to age. There's just so many layers
Aging
to all of
and-
this. But
Dude, you're right. She also makes that comment very specifically that I don't like the way the world looks. It's so gross and disappointing when I'm sober.
Yeah.
And she did not feel that way when we first met her. So I thought it was also really good character mechanistic like commentary on that. That's what it can do to you.
Yeah.
It can start making you feel this way. Like that is not the woman we met. One more consequence moment for her that I thought was so fantastic. I appreciated the dramaturgical reason for the plant scene. I thought it was a little over the top.
Yeah, me too.
But it was all worth it for me when it cut away from that to her father's bedroom when she burst in on him. There was a little bit of that weird flirtation. She's drunk.
Yeah.
She like gets in her dad's bed and she's like, hug me. I couldn't tell quite what she was saying, but she was being like weird with her father, right? And he was like ushering her out of his room and her daughter opens the door. That moment. And he was like, get back inside. And
she
she's
attacks
like,
the daughter. Yeah.
And he grabs her and takes her to the bathtub and puts the fucking cold shower on her. I was like, oh my God. Part of me wished that they had cut away from Jack when he started destroying the flowers. Cut to that. Cut back to him finding the bottle. And then, because I don't know, I thought the plant scene went on a little bit long. Because the point of it, I don't know, when it got to her, I could not wait to see what the fuck she was doing upstairs. I was so scared.
For me, it was like, oh, wow, he's going to get this row and whatever wrong, and he's going to trash the fucking place looking for it. So, I already knew, I was waiting for it to happen. So that when it happened, it was like a payoff of sorts for me.
And also he did it well, where he didn't just start like destroying flowers. It was like the frustration built, and like he had already prepped throughout the movie that's how he behaved. It was progressive. It wasn't just like, fuck, I'm mad. It was like, where is it? Getting frustrated, and then going. I think that was good. But you're right about that moment because she says later, like, I just need to be loved. And the drinking, that's why she needs to be with these guys. Who cares who they are? And she couldn't find him, and so she found her dad. And yes, it was a little weird, but at the same time, it's like she gets childish, right? She kind of gets childish
set up
when
that
she
her
drinks.
dad didn't pay attention to her at all. Like he paid attention to her mother.
To be reminded that somebody cares that she exists and thinks she's amazing. And maybe he used to say she was pretty when she was younger.
Dotted the I's and crossed the T's in this movie, didn't they?
That's what I mean. It's crazy. So even though the first part seems not disjointed, but it seems a little hectic, it was like, it all checks out.
It's worth watching for sure. I think anyone who's interested in this issue and wants to see just a really good old movie. This is not going to check all the love, like the romance. It's not, when you think of old movies, you might not think of this kind of movie, but I'll put it in it's somewhere in the Virginia Woolf, Lost Weekend. It's in that really tragedy of being alive.
This was 10 times better than Virginia Woolf in my book.
Well, Virginia Woolf. Yeah. Well, Virginia Woolf is just really well written, but in a movie we need it to be really well seen, shown. Like it is more of a visual medium. Even though
I found
there's sound and
the portrayal of being drunk far more realistic in this film.
I don't know what it would have been like if they did it in front of me on like right now. I don't know, but like Virginia Woolf, if I saw that, I'd be in person. So it's a better play, and then this is a really good movie. The only note I have is that doctor with the needle, prep your fucking needle, bro. Why did that needle take so long? Jack Lemmon was staring at that needle for like 90 seconds, and he's like getting it. I'm like, prep the needle before you do this. I'm watching The Pit right now. There's no way they're showing that needle until it's ready to get inserted in someone's butthole.
I loved how, really loved how sweaty he was in that first scene with the DTs in the asylum or hospital or wherever the fuck he was. That was...
There's a name for that, but he's just full on withdrawal, just straight up full on withdrawal. And also
DTs,
water.
Right?
Did we not know?
Seeing like you go psychotic.
Do we not know about water and coffee and bread back then? I guess in 1962 we didn't. We just gave him literally nothing.
Know that.
Well, that's
give
the thing.
Him water, bro. He's dehydrated. Give him water.
Yeah. I mean, they found him in the street and he was fucking nuts. So,
what's the cure for alcohol poisoning? Drying him out.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Give him a good ironing.
Anyway, apparently cockroaches are good and alcoholism is bad. Here we go, 1962.
Yeah.
Good on Jack Lemmon for championing
He's
that
awesome.
and really wanting to
Fantastic.
make it.
Fuck oath.
But I don't
And
think the
reminder
movie
here-
would have been made if he had not wanted to make it. So that's really awesome that it came to light.
Yep.
3 alcoholics who cared enough about the story, they thought it was a good enough story to tell, that eventually it changed their life
Oh, I thought you meant us.
and they got sober. Sure. 3 alcoholics.
Dave isn't drinking right now because he's an alcoholic. No, I'm kidding, Dave. But Jack Lemmon already had an Oscar from 1955 and then casually did Some Like It Hot in 1959 and The Apartment in 1960. So to go to here in 1962, which is very apartment-like in some ways. And anyway, it's bold. It's a bold move. And so good on him. Good on him.
Good movie.
All right, friends. Well, I think it's time to wrap that segment up.
Yep.
And get into what you've been watching. And we always like to tease what we're going to do next week here on the show, but we don't know what year we're going to do. So we're going to do that right now. Again, this was a renter. If you want to go back and rent it or recommend it to anybody else. And also, if you have a significant other who drinks more than you, if you want to watch it with them, just prep it. Just let them know ahead of time. Like, I'm not insinuating anything.
Go in cold. Don't tell them. They'll never
I heard
touch
about
another
this movie.
drop.
It's great. These guys talked about it. They drink on their podcast. It's funny. They'll never know. Basically, an intervention built in.
It's the perfect
Dave,
trap.
You ready to spin? John, what year should we go to next? What year are you feeling? You feel like we're going to go current? Maybe
I
another
think
year
we're
for the
gonna
third
go-
time?
2002.
I would slingshot it to this year. I'm going 1970.
Here we go.
Oh, nice.
Oh, we're in the 1900s. John's already off. That's a 1. That's a 9. That's an 8.
89.
89. The year of Batman. Have we done the random year generator for 89 yet? I don't know if we have.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely have.
Yeah.
Stand By Me. Not
We
Stand
didn't
By
do
Me.
Stand By Me.
It's like
We
isn't
didn't
it the great
do
year
Stand
with,
By Me
We'll find
anyway.
out
What are
in
you
a
talking
second.
about?
Yeah.
Dead Poets.
Dead Poets, we
And
did.
Okay, touche.
what's the other? Lean on Me.
Yeah.
Did
We
we
did
do
Dead
that?
Poets for sure. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. Okay, touche. We did this year, but that was a long time ago. So we're back, people. That was before
And
the random year
Witness?
generator.
That's this year?
No,
Did we do
Witness
that
was
too?
like 85. Okay, we'll fuck it.
Okay,
I think Witness was 85. We're going to do what you've been watching. We'll Google these movies on our little break and then tell you what we're watching at the end of this episode. Dave, we'd like to start with you with what you've been watching. What have you been watching? Short week this week.
It
Long
was,
week? I don't know.
it
It doesn't
was, and
fucking
I was
matter.
very fucking busy, but I did make some progress with the shows. I'm still watching Severance. I just got up to one of the big oh fuck moments. Great. And I'm watching Silo as well, which they have apparently. This is the thing I love about Apple TV. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what their numbers were,
Wait, how
but
is
they've renewed
Silo?
it until season 4. So they're going to do the
4?
entire book, like a series of books or whatever. It's fucking great. The series is fantastic. The mystery of what exactly is going on is amazing. And yeah, you get a little bit. There's like conspiracy, and then there's like, how did this all start? Like they built the world, and now you're just living in it and finding out what it is. Like with everyone else, it's great. And slow to the boat on this one, but I
Nice.
finally started watching Euphoria.
Did you like it?
Wow. Is it crazy that teenagers like that show?
I dug the way the first episode was set up.
Oh, so you've seen one.
Sure.
Yeah, I've seen 2 episodes. I went through the second episode as well, but the first episode was set up really, really well. With the almost the narration going over it, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm a fan. I'm going to keep going until I don't like it anymore.
Do it, man.
But Silo's good because I watched the first season and I really loved it. And,
Yeah.
and I know I should watch the second season. But there's just a lot to do.
Yeah, the second one picks up right on the back of the first one.
Did you? Well, good. Did you read the books, or are you just saying
I have
that
them.
they renewed it?
I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't. But they have definitely renewed it. So we're going to get
Are those Isaac?
No, I can't remember.
Who wrote Silo?
I can't remember what his
He wrote
name is, but
Foundation.
the book is called Wool.
Asimov.
Asimov.
Is that his name?
Asimov, yeah.
Asimov.
Yeah. Isaac Asimov.
Isaac Asimov.
Okay, John. John, what have you been watching?
I am still watching White Lotus. Still really, really enjoying it. I think I'm excited for something big to happen. I hope something kind of shakes up the the tension that he's building right now. I hope it kind of throws everything off in the next episode, but I'm enjoying 1 through 3 so far. Really big fan. Still watching The Pit, though I did not watch the one that came out Thursday. So now there's 9 out and I'm 1 behind. We have been watching in a build-up because I have never seen the Bridget Jones movies. So we've watched 1 through 3 at this point.
The new one, they look the same age as the last one. I mean, they look pretty good, all of them. For the new, the new ones.
So I haven't watched the 4th one yet.
Is it out yet?
The first one was great and funny. Yeah. It went straight to Peacock.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of the weird thing. That's why everybody's watching them right now. Second one was one of the worst and weirdest movies I've ever seen. Third one, I thought they came back. Felt like a good Studio 3 rom-com thing. It was right there. Sure. You got to watch it. She's in a Thai prison for quite a bit in that movie. And you're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Why is she
Broke Down Palace with Claire Danes?
It's weird. Yeah. Hold on. So I'll probably watch that. And I also saw a theatrical production of at the Geffen Playhouse, which is the sister theater to the Steppenwolf Theater Company in Chicago. Sure. So the Steppenwolf Company basically mounted a production of Noises Off.
Oh, funny. Was it funny?
Vicar. Yeah, it was funny.
It was funny? I love Selsden.
Yeah.
Selsden's
very funny.
Dude.
Oh, Selsden. That guy was in. I saw him in August, Osage County in New York.
What?
He's been in Steppenwolf for like 50 years.
I was at that show. Wait, what? Who was he in August? We saw it together.
He's the uncle.
No, we didn't see it together. We didn't.
I saw it with Allison Knock. You saw it a different time, but he played the uncle. So the father of the young man who's having an incestuous relationship with the cousin.
The father. I see.
Yeah, I think that's the character he played on the stage show. But funny as shit. Anyway, what'd you see?
Also a drunk. Selsden's a drunk.
When he comes on stage and he's like, I missed the violence of this ancient old man. Anyway, keep going. What do you got?
Hugh Howey wrote the books for Silo. Hugh Howey.
It's called Wool, I think.
Well, the first one is called Wool, but I guess the series is whatever. Anyway, Jeffrey Wong and Graham Yost are the creators for the show. Graham Yost with 2 Emmys for The Pacific. And for the Earth with
Graham Yost, pretty good.
Okay, I definitely watched a lot of Full Swing, which is the golf documentary, and I have to admit, it's not going to be any different next week because the F1 series is back for March 6th. So I'm going to do some drives to survive next week.
Daredevil starts tomorrow too. The new Daredevil.
Oh, fucking hell.
There's all this shit. I didn't know that was happening.
So much shit. There's so much shit to watch. I didn't watch all the Oscar movies, but I'm watching fucking 6 hours of golf documentaries. I mean, it's fucking crazy. And next week, same thing for F1. But you know what I did watch? I decided to watch something. I was like, I want to take a big swing and I want to watch something. You know what I watched? All of? I watched Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh.
We're talking about 1962. We were about to do it. And I was like, fuck it. I'm going to watch it. I'm not even. And then I got 2 hours in.
Did you rent the theater?
No, I don't have to rent my theater here. I can just walk down, but I didn't. I was upstairs with my cat and Angela had schoolwork to do. So I just popped it on and all of a sudden 2 hours fucking flew by. Yo, I loved it. It's so good.
Can't fucking
It's
sleep.
definitely long. I mean, when they are there after the 40 days in the desert or whatever, and then he's like, we need to go back for this guy. And then he goes back. It's long for sure, where he's just in the desert.
That sequence though is like a perfect example of in the theater, you don't feel that at all there. It was long. You're about to die in the desert too, and you have to go back for him. It's so intense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but then when he comes back and he's a hero, after basically being a hero he hasn't united the Arab troops yet, but for the way that they're fighting over the wells and everything, and for that whole sequence before they go into the desert. And also I kind of forgot because I saw it a long time ago, but he's a weird dude. Lawrence of Arabia, T.L. Lawrence, whatever his name is, he's weird. He's not he's I did not see him as a desert person when he's in the office, spinning globes and shit. He just seemed like a fucking weird person.
That's the point,
and
right?
The fact that he's uniting the Arabs by being able to exist in the desert as a English man.
What
did you recognize
Dune?
Did you recognize Sir Alec Guinness?
Playing an Arab? Yeah, being a king of an Arab, let alone playing an Arab. Yeah, there's definitely some white people and then some dark makeup for some people. But
he's so good though.
Yeah, and Omar Sharif is so good. And then watching that shot again, and my TV is fantastic. So watching that shot again on my TV with the great sound, it's the iconic
you turn sports mode off, right?
500 millimeter lens. Dave, you turned sports mode off and it has never been back on again. But the iconic 500 millimeter lens he's so far away that he's literally in an oasis or in a complete mirage for like 30 seconds where it looks like he's floating in space. And then it's like, it looks like he's walking on water with the horse. And it's like a fucking 2-minute shot.
Dude.
It is so good. It's
the
so
transition.
good. I love it.
Don't stop rolling. Don't fucking stop rolling.
Omar Sharif is so fucking
Can you imagine if they're like, reset? It's right. So far away.
Recue the storm.
That's like, we have to wait till tomorrow for the right sun.
Jordan for letting
like
film that in there.
The sun's right for the next 5 minutes. And it's like, okay, we get half a shot. Okay, anyway, so that's why I fucking loved it. And then, of course, at the end, when
so
the extras that they definitely did not pay enough of. I mean, even Kurosawa had to be in awe of be like, how do they get all these extras to work for free on horseback and camelback? I mean, wild. We'll
I heard
never
somebody
be able to afford that
say
ever again.
About 10 years ago, I saw like a re-release screening of it, and they said adjusted for inflation, this movie would be, at that time, around 2015, it would be about a $300 million movie.
Budget?
So, yeah.
I mean, adjusting for what SAG scale is now, for all of those people with the horses and the camels in the desert and the time that it took, I'm surprised it's not more.
Isn't it SAG and Jordan?
So
well, now it's probably more like 400, right?
That's why we go to Jordan to film. But honestly, for all these people, like, we should be paid more. I want them to look at Lawrence of Arabia, look at Ben-Hur, look at these movies and be like, this will never happen again, ever, if you get what you want. So I just want you to know that. Just be aware of that. There's a reason when you watch this movie and there's 11 people in the scene and there should be 500. Just something to think about. You guys want to listen to some best
when Conan said, this was not, I just want you to know, AI did not contribute to this production. We use child labor.
Yeah.
Well, come on, they're people too. It's so
good. It's so good.
It's so fun.
All right. Well, let's listen to some Dasein so we can pick a movie. And this is going to be our shortest episode in a couple weeks. Guys, look at that. We're getting our numbers down. Woo.
Let's do it.
All right. I mean, we want to get our numbers up. You know what I mean? Show run, episode length. We drink. All right. And we're back.
Thank you for watching.
Dave, take that screen off. Take that screen off. Take it off.
Fuck off.
Fuck off, Dave.
Fucking Hulu.
So we talked about this a lot. We have seen a couple of these movies already as a podcast here. So we've talked about a couple of these. Let me buzz Dave for that. The shenanigan. Let's get 50 cents over to... what do you mean, Dave? What if people were watching the YouTube and they cut their feet off? Guys, we're talking about The Abyss. James Cameron's The Abyss. We're talking about it. We're very excited about it. Anything you guys want to say about this?
Nope.
I'm the only one who hasn't seen it yet. So Dave said he wants to see my reaction to one scene. I wonder what scene that is. But you at home already know, you fuckers. You probably fucking love your movies. See you next time, film fans. Listen to some Dasein.
Peace.